Welcome back to the Go Deeper podcast. Today we're going to talk about keeping promises to yourself and the importance of that. I would love to throw out the book first, Atomic Habits. It's a book that talks about when you're keeping promises and essentially creating habits in one aspect of your life, it trickles over to every other aspect of your life. And I think it says something so powerful when somebody wants to go transform their life and they first, and we're going to segue this into you, Stephen, they first start making commitments to themselves and like the fitness and the food aspect. And they keep promises to themselves on dietary restrictions and showing up and working out and being consistent. And all of a sudden it trickles over to other areas of their life where like the relationships are better, they're showing up better at their job, their finances are better, and they're just happier overall. And I would say if we were to just share one secret to life is we have become pretty good at keeping promises to ourselves and to other people. But I think that's one thing that we both saw maybe from our parents growing up is whenever they said they were going to do something, they did something.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And one thing that keeping promises does is when you keep promises to yourself, it helps you to trust yourself. And when you keep promises and other people see that and you keep them for them too, it also builds trust between the two of you. And I think one key integral thing in any relationship is 1,000% trust.
Trust. I agree.
Trust is everything.
But I hate gossip. You know this.
Yeah.
I hate hypocritical Christian. And I hate anyone who don't keep a promise or be a man
their
or
word.
woman of their word.
What's the one thing you always say? Like, my handshake?
Yeah, your handshake and your word in my world is everything. If you ever lose that with me, like I can't trust you, period. You know this. I've told Amber 1,000 times since the day, well, before we got married, but since the day we got married, I'm like, never cross me in the sense of like, just tell me the truth. Because like, to me, that's detrimental. I can't understand some people that like hide secrets from the other married spouse, whoever, because I think if you found out, and it could be something small that I hid from you, let's say I had $1,000 in another bank account.
Makes me not trust you.
Wouldn't you think there's something big?
So that's the negative side of not keeping promises.
Right.
You know, the positive side is if you keep your promises, you gain trust.
Right.
The negative side is if you don't, you lose trust. And I think when people start to lose trust with themselves is when their self-esteem goes down, their self-worth goes down, anxiety and depression set in, because you know what you need to do. And you see the opportunities that are coming across your way. And if you're not making the right choices or you're not taking action, you start to lose trust with yourself.
I'm going to dumb it.
Yourself
Well, I'm going to dumb it down for everybody because Amber's heard a million people ask me this. Stephen, I barely eat and I just can't lose weight. And
that's also not.
But hear me out. I can kind of be like that blunt guy that's be like, you mean to tell me that you eat perfect all day long? And at night, you're not, because you would change if you were doing the right things. And I promise you, you're not doing the right things. And then they'll be like, well, sometimes I do this at bed or do this. And I'm like, if you got your shit together, the 80-20 rule, you can get away with a little bit. But you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. You don't need to impress me. I don't care how you look. I'm a married man. But at the end of the day, some people believe their own lies. And that's the sad part about life is they also don't know how to keep a promise to themselves. I think it all starts with like here first, because every day we're going to start off with small wins. We're going to wake up, we're going to do our cardio, or I'm going to do my first post, reel, whatever I'm doing. It's ingrained in me now.
I think let's back up.
Okay.
And let's talk about you are one of the most savage in your daily discipline and promises you keep to yourself about your health and your well-being. So I want you to share that, because that aspect in and of itself is usually the hardest for most people. I think food is ultimately the drug of choice for most people. And not going to the gym is the outlet that most people avoid, that they need the most. So I want you to talk about how bodybuilding and being disciplined in your food, being disciplined in your supplements, being disciplined at the gym and keeping those promises to yourself, what has that done for you?
I think it's, first of all, I think just people seeing me since 12 years old, all them times as being the overweight little kid that then transformed to, I remember the 15-year-old kind of being skinny, but like transformational, looking like a different person. People coming up, gosh, Steven, you don't even, that I would remember like yesterday, you don't look like the same person because I had dyed my hair blonde. And then seeing me at, 19 years old, 6'2", 240. And then seeing me at 22, 23, shredded, winning bodybuilding contest, then building my gym, transitioning at 30 years old, kind of getting out of bodybuilding, but still staying. A lot of people will still say, gosh, Steven, you've been the same size for 20 years. Meaning like,
Because most people don't.
no.
I mean, oftentimes, I forget who I was talking to this past week, but we were talking about like what size we were in middle
Yeah.
school, what size we were in high school, what size we were when we got married, what size we are now. And as women, we do have to be a little more graceful with our body. We
Sure,
produce
of
children
course.
and we have different hormones than men do. We go through menopause, but we still can trust ourselves enough with food and make the right choices. And I think that's where one thing that's honestly made me trust you at a high level is seeing you be so disciplined and committed to yourself first, because you can't give what you don't have.
I think it catapults if you're committed to yourself and committed to your,
Craft of any kind, it speaks volume.
I think also like a lot of times in my office, somebody's coming to me for gym equipment, but then we get talking about, hey, Steven, do you mind me asking you, what do you do? You're 40 some years old. I got told the other day, man, you look 30. Or another person about 3 weeks ago told me I look younger than I did 10 years ago because they were
And
in
you
my office.
do. I would agree.
And I think there's a number of things. So first of all, I think when I was in, let's just say 30 and I got out of bodybuilding, I didn't know how to transition from that. That was a weird point in time because I was used to bulking up to 280, dieting down to 220. So I knew when I was in that transitional period of bulk up, I was going to look a little way. But the trade-off of that, I was strong as a bull in the gym. So I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with being a little chunky and arms being 22 inches, but having some blubber fat on me. But then didn't realize how big your face looks in that moment. So I had to like get away and get out of that atmosphere of like, okay, I need to be big. And then I had knee replacement. And I was like, I need to be smaller for weight purposes. And then I realized I'm like, okay, when you're in the middle, you're not happy big and you're not happy small. So where do you need to be? I had to like refine my look and understand that I'm not going to be as strong as Steven used to be.
Some of that's just growing up and maturing
Sure.
and being realistic
Sure.
with life
health.
and longevity and your health.
You're right.
And I think your promise to yourself was, especially once we had kids, I think was the thing that like
Oh, 100%.
triggered your mind off of your aesthetics.
I had my food in the hospital, if you remember.
And more health and longevity and wellness and well-being.
Sure.
So bodybuilding is an extreme, not always healthy, mentally or physically. I've appreciated you keeping a promise to yourself, even since we've had kids, of like, I want to be healthy. I want to know what all my blood levels say. I want to know that my heart looks good. I want to know that I'm handling my stress well.
Sure.
I want to know that I'm eating healthy. I want to know that my cardiovascular health is good.
Sure.
Like keeping all those promises to yourself has probably helped me keep myself healthier too. And one thing I just wrote down when you were talking was your environment can either help you keep your promises to yourself or do the complete opposite.
Me and you talk about this all the time. The husband who eats like shit, who has the beautiful wife who the girl didn't have to work out in her 20s and 30s.
But she does now in her late 30s and 40s.
Exactly.
For hormonal reasons.
But the husband, she's used to seeing him eat like crap for 10 years, and now he's changed. And maybe he's not as attractive or big. And now she's eating a little worse by default of him. You know as well as I do, me and Amber's always gave ourselves like one time a week for a cheat meal. But that Monday
and
morning.
that's a promise we've always kept to ourselves.
Right.
Like, that's powerful.
And we look forward to pizza or burger, whatever we want on the weekend with our children, even before children.
Yeah.
But then she knows Monday morning, I'm right back. I have been this way before I met Amber. I'm back on my shit of my diet and everything like that. And what I don't think people realize is food is fuel. It's how you feel also. It's your energy level. It's
I was going to say there's a compounding effect to keeping a promise like that to yourself.
correct.
Because it is not just how you feel.
Mhm.
It is your energy level. Long term,
Right.
if you eat like I would say mid 30s, late 30s, you really start to see the compounding effects of how well or not how well somebody has taken care of themselves.
Absolutely.
The compounding effects start to show up. You don't think like this in your 20s, but in your 30s and 40s,
And you can't hide it.
you cannot hide
You
it.
can't just go get Botox and think,
No.
oh, I'm going to change my look, or I'm just going to go get plastic surgery. Guys, if you lipo, that can come back.
Yeah.
So there's no substitute. And I'll say it again. There's no substitute for hard work in anything.
Yeah.
And if you half-ass yourself, you're going to half-ass your business. Just my opinion. I'm not saying everybody does.
That's the thought of atomic habits.
Correct.
When you keep promises to yourself in one aspect,
Yep.
it trickles over to every other aspect.
In marriage.
So I honestly could see, even in like my team, if I have a girl that's like eating healthy, working out, I kind of know her life is good.
Yep.
And one thing that a coach said to me years ago is, before I start coaching you, I want to see what your house looks like. Because if your house is a mess,
Mm-hmm.
you're a mess on the inside. And it's going to take me some undoing. Like, I need to see that you can keep your house clean before I coach you. Because if you can't stay committed to that small task over there, you're not going to stay committed
Do you
to
remember
this.
what I told you? And you were always good about this, but like, I was like, you got to keep your car clean if
Yeah.
you're going to be with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I can't
But that's where
stand.
like that promise you keep to yourself of staying on a diet, working out, keeping a house clean, keeping a car clean, going all in your business. That's what I'm talking about.
But I
It's
couldn't,
the
like, if I
compounding
had to
effect
ride
of
with
it.
you, I didn't want to step
I'm
into
not-
a
me
filthy
neither.
fast food wrappers. Like, I can't stand that, because I think that's a representation of yourself. When somebody walks into my office at my business, I want it to look somewhat neat, even though it can be a little chaotic at my warehouse. But like, I was sweeping earlier. I sweep the floors every day because I want it to represent what I stand for. To know that when you get your equipment, we're not perfect, but we are going to go above and beyond for you.
We're in the details.
We're in the details. And keeping promises is a big deal of all aspects of life.
Yeah, whether it's business, whether it's your
your
health,
kids.
your financial wealth, your children, keeping
Yes.
promises to your kids. I think nothing hurts a kid more than telling them you're going to do something and not.
Well, hang on. Starting football,
Yeah.
I told Manny, I said, Manny, if you commit to this, you're finishing the season,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. This because my son always said he didn't want to play football. And so that was a big deal for me. I was like,
It was
listen,
like 100 degrees. When
we
started football
finish
3 nights
what
a week.
we start. And my son ended up loving it. Thank
Loved
God.
it. Sissy loved cheering.
But at the end of the day, there was no option to quit. Because when we started, if I commit, I always tell somebody, when I'm building your facility, you're not just buying the equipment from me. I put my heart and soul into you. The past 2 shipments I've shipped, one to Montana and one, I forget, somewhere else. We couldn't fit all the equipment. This one truck was $5,000. And so I'm like, listen, I'm not calling these people and have to spend another $5,000. That's a lot of money. We worked 6 hours to pack this thing and pay Tetris and take a few things apart in order to fit it. I called the guy and he was like, dude, I can't thank you enough. I saved him $5,000. I made nothing. In fact, that was a pain in my ass. But did I gain a customer for life?
Yeah, because you stayed committed to the promise that you made him.
Correct.
There were 2 things that, like, if I were to tell, like, have a wall of like my father's little spats he always told me, is if there's a will, there's a way.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep a promise to yourself.
Chains on
If
in my
you've
gym.
committed to it, if there's a will, there's a way. And the other thing was, if we're going to do it, we're never going to half-ass it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do it 110%. And to me, that goes back to like keeping promises of your word, but also doing it well.
Right.
Like, don't half-ass it. I think God sees you when you half-ass stuff. And excuse me, Lord, for swearing. But he's like, I told you to do it, but I told you to do it well, not half. And I think a lot of people check the box off half and they feel accomplished. To me, you might as well not do it at all, because I think that's just not planting a good seed. And I'm just a big believer. And when you know what to do and it's there and you're supposed to do it, and you don't do it,
Mm-hmm.
there's compounding effect to that too. That's when you start to like chisel away at your self-confidence, you chisel away at your self-trust. Other people start to diminish the value of you because you're not doing what you say you're gonna do. And all of a sudden you used to have a reputation up here and it goes down here.
Mm-hmm.
Your word is everything. It's a dollar amount that people are giving you whether you realize it or not.
Yep.
And it essentially it's a reflection of the value that you're trying to convey to the world. How you show up is everything. It's,
Well, when people refer you
yeah,
and they're like, hey, he's a man of his word, he's a man of faith, he's a good guy, he will, and if he can't help you, he'll tell you that too. That's what I want people to say about me. Because when you're dead and gone, and you had the world saying, man, that guy was shit, his name was mud, whatever, that's the legacy you leave. So if we're talking a little bit about legacy, what are you leaving on this world? I want people like today, there's 10 people tagging me or commenting under social media as being like, saying, praising good things. That's what I want to leave on the world.
yeah.
That's a big deal to me versus like I never in a million years would want somebody to say, oh man, he ripped someone off or something like that. To what? Make $500, $1,000 in the hindsight, in the big scheme of things. How much is $1,000 nowadays?
Not 100. It's the old $100.
To ruin your name?
Right.
But to go back on promises, and just as a funny story. So my wife left this past weekend for Thanksgiving to go visit. She's got a pregnant sister, and I can say that now, which we're so thankful for, to see her mom and family. And so there was literally one flight for her to go. So I either had to take off work all week or stay in work. And there was no option. I had to stay. So I was like, do I drive or drive? Do I do connecting flights? And then so they were coming back the day after Thanksgiving. So I'm like, oh crap, there's a Thanksgiving flight of all things. So I stayed, worked my ass off all week, and then flew out Thanksgiving morning. So I'd done a hellacious workout with two friends of mine Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. Woke up early Thursday. I couldn't sleep well, probably because I had Thanksgiving. I had to come flying. Done my cardio, hit a light flight, ate my first breakfast, took a protein shake on the way, drank a protein shake after the breakfast. So I drank breakfast, or I'd done breakfast and coffee, worked out a little bit, drank the shake, heated a meal up. So my dad was like, what's in that bag? And I had that little pink bag, if you remember. So I heated a meal up, carried it into the airport on Thanksgiving. So when I was waiting for the flight.
This is what I'm talking about. He's committed.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling the story.
Promises he keeps to himself.
So it's Thanksgiving Day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. My flight's out at 11. And so I sitting there charging my phone, eating like this big thing of chicken and rice. And so I remember, because the airport was actually pretty busy, people looking at me like, why is this guy eating this on Thanksgiving? And so this one particular guy, he was staring at me and I was like, yeah, I got to get my meal in. He was like, I think he thought I didn't have Thanksgiving to eat. And so I said to him, I said, no. I said, as soon as I land, I'll be eating, I'll be starving. But if I don't eat now, I said, my metabolism is so fast that I will literally be starving. And he just died laughing because, my chicken and rice is a pretty big meal. And so that's the promise. Now, this. When me and Amber got back from Ohio this weekend, I wasn't not on my meals, but I wasn't like in sync. That the Thanksgiving Day threw me off a little bit. It's just bloat and full. And Dominic told me to eat. So
You got to be graceful
yeah.
with yourself. I think there's also, in the bodybuilding world, it can become an issue being too extreme for too long.
Oh, 100%.
It's not healthy.
But I didn't
you do
feel
need
good.
refeed days. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
didn't feel good.
Who feels good after Thanksgiving dinner?
You're right.
Nobody.
And I knew that. But so Monday, right back on my meals. Well, really all weekend we were on our meals. But Monday I was like, okay, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
So this is not just a promise to myself. This is how I feel. This is my life.
But I think it's a compounding effect as you know what it feels like
Right.
to feel good
Right.
and operate at a high level in all aspects of your life because of that. But I think so much of the world doesn't know what it feels like to feel good
I agree.
because they haven't kept the promises to themselves. And it's an emotional thing. The emotional thing becomes a food thing. The food thing becomes a mental and a physical thing. And all of a sudden there's a negative impact exponentially. I know the one thing that I committed to myself was when I had kids, I said, I'm not going to lose myself and my children. I'm not going to let it affect my marriage, but I'm still going to show up for them 110%.
Sure.
So I had to ask myself, what does that look like? And to me, it looked like getting up at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. before the world does, keeping committed in the promise to myself that I was still going to spend time with the Lord. I was going to get my mind right before the rest of the world woke up, and get everything I really needed to get done before the kids wake up every single day. And it's allowed me in my business to still operate at a high level. I still sold nearly 100 houses this year, helped me operate my team, helped me be very present and supportive of you, and still pick my kids up every day by 3 o'clock, and travel more than we've ever traveled. But if I wouldn't commit to myself at getting up at 4 a.m., I promise you I'd be a completely different wife and a completely different mother every single day, because I'd be getting up, waking up in chaos.
I think, though, by you doing that, you're so used to functioning at a high level
Yeah.
that it's chaos for us to sit around. And most people don't understand what I'm even saying by saying that, probably.
I would say we live our life, and somebody said this to me recently, we live our life with such high standards that lowering our standards even a little bit is very uncomfortable to us. But we operate ourselves with such high standards that we really align with in our values.
Sure.
So our life, instead of draining us, which is what most people's lives do to them, actually gives us energy and momentum and passion every single day to live life at a very high level.
So Friday after Thanksgiving, we woke up, we ate breakfast, we drank a cup of coffee, and then what's the first thing I asked you?
When are we going to the gym?
And most people,
And we'd already went to the gym every day that week.
yeah, but
I had
most
walked 2 days, 6.5 miles with my pregnant sister in 19 degrees.
most people, they're gonna not work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Not work out.
Not work out or work. Me, I worked Friday from computer, and we went to the gym. But listen, after we done that cardio, when me and her done buys and tries together, how much better did you feel?
It's so good. And it's like that one saying, like, you'll never, how does it go?
It's like you'll never have a bad, like
Yeah.
the worst.
The minute you walk out of the gym, you'll never have a bad workout.
Yeah.
Because you don't
You
realize
just show up.
working out is not just physical. It's
But
so much more
That's
mental.
the promise to ourselves. And hear me out. If she that morning would have been like, "Oh, babe, I don't want to." Now, if she'd only been there for a day,
Inside I was.
well, I know.
But I
That's why
I
I'm
also
mentioning
know
it.
I've done it enough times to know, like, I never regret a workout.
Well, hear me out. If Amber had gotten in there Wednesday night and we were leaving Friday morning for a family,
I might have skipped a workout.
I wouldn't have said a word to let her have that time with her parents. She'd been there all week. And so my point is, I knew she needed it, first of all. And it's
And
not me.
I knew you needed my individual time too, because you hadn't seen me.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's a keeping a promise
Yeah,
to, like,
but
my values.
we
in life,
wasn't
like,
even
I
there.
value
We were
our
probably
marriage.
there hour 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're only that. Yeah,
we
hour.
wasn't there long, and we went straight back, and it was like they probably didn't even realize hardly we were gone.
No.
But my point is, if I would have sat around for the second day after being on the plane, and then literally I was in Ohio for like 24 hours, and sat around, I would have been locked up. My back, I would have felt like crap. Saturday morning, we're back home. Same thing.
It would have been a trickle effect.
Yeah. And so many people, the reason I'm saying this, so many people, they're going to church and they're 8 weeks in. Week 9, it's like, oh, let me just live stream. Live 10, let me just live stream. Now you're not
fall
on
off the
week
deep
11.
end.
Yeah, they fall off on their
Because
eating.
you stopped keeping the promise to yourself.
They stop dating. They stop communicating. So many people that we've known before, this is nobody in particular, they are living roommates. Because I know for a fact they should have made a promise to one another that's like, hey, snap out of it. Like, you have to learn to evolve, I feel like, with your significant other, with your... Sophia and Mamie are different kids than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
So we can't just throw them to the curb.
I'll never forget one year when we were doing our goals, and we usually do 5 or 6 areas of goals. It's family and relationships, finances, health, your overall business goals, and your physical fitness. And maybe, anyways, you have to always make sure that you pay attention to, like, if you were to look at those as glass balls, the ones that would drop and the ones that would shatter, you need to pour into those more than anything else. Your business can bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
Your health, your relationships, and the people that you love are the ones you really need to pay attention to.
Sure.
Oh, yourself. That's the one. You have yourself, which is like your spiritual being, your well-being, your physical, and your relationships are the ones that have a hard time bouncing back.
Sure.
When those drop, it's usually detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
So as a business owner, as a wife, as a mother, like you do need to pour into yourself first, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you don't have it in you, you don't have it in you to give. So you do need to like spend time with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to worry about your health, because your physical and your mental health affects every other aspect of your life. So if you're not taking time every day to pour into your mental and your physical health, it's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect how you parent. It's going to affect your marriage. It's going to affect how you show up in your business. And then lastly, what was the last? Your relationships. I will tell you, if something is ever off between him and I, and it rarely is, we don't let it be off because we've kept that promise to ourselves, it affects my confidence and how I show up in my business. And it's important, so as a mother, the promises I kept to myself was I'm going to still pour into myself and have a purpose above and beyond being a mom. I'm going to still stay committed to my marriage because I want to keep a promise to my children that they're going to see what a healthy marriage looks like and what healthy parents look like. And I'm also going to keep myself healthy. And if I stay focused on those three things, everything else takes care of itself. But I think so oftentimes in life, people start worrying about the business and the finances, and they let all of these other three things go by the wayside. And those other three things are really what make you feel loved and really what give you a purpose to focus on the other two things. So it's
I agree.
You have to be very intentional as a mother or a busy husband to take care of you, and then make sure that you're taking care of those key people and those relationships.
Well, even this is the past couple of days, Amber's been talking about like love languages with people. And she's like, well, yours
Love
is
language with him and I, not just people.
Well, no, we're talking about our kids. And stuff, I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so we're like, me and my son, 100% physical touch. My son needs words of affirmation.
So does he.
My daughter is like complete opposite. She's fine being alone, but then she's starting to harbor her emotions. So I don't even know how you discreet. Yeah, that's Amber. So anyways, Amber is like, babe, I need like acts of service and stuff. So yesterday,
quality time.
You might not even realize this, but like I straightened up all the entry. I was in a hurry today. So I did pick up a little bit, but it ain't what I did.
You failed me today.
Yeah, I vacuumed.
Where's your promise?
Vacuumed a little bit for my wife and just cleaned up the dishes, plugged the kids' iPads in, all these things. And then last night, I let her just roll over and go to bed.
Yeah.
Purposely. Like
I
I
didn't get any physical touch last
No,
night.
It wasn't even that. I just was like, okay, maybe she needs that night.
Yeah.
And so I didn't say a word to her versus I know from talking to enough men, including myself and how I have felt with my wife before, I know for a fact how some men will just lay in that bed and they're so mad at their wife, and then day after day, and they never convey a thing to the wife. They're not even talking to her. And then the guy just snaps on the wife. Then she's not going to want him, not only sexually, but there's going to be a major divide within the house.
I think this would be a good podcast, just talking about love languages and what it means, and knowing that you have to be like humble and have enough humility to know you can't love others how you want to be loved all the time and get the best out of them, because there is an art to that.
Sure.
And I think unless somebody's read the book, The 5 Love Languages, people don't even realize that exists. And it's probably it keeps them from keeping promises to themselves.
Well, we've talked about this a
others.
little bit before where, what Stephen likes, you're going to allow Stephen to do that a few times a year. And then what Amber likes, like, I'm never going to be like, oh, Amber, we're going to go do this every single week because that's what I want. It's give and take. And I think that's also keeping a promise and like learning your significant other of like, if I knew you hated, when I say hated something, I am not going to continue to make you do that all the time. Now, if you allowed me to do that 4 times a year, okay, great. You could probably handle that. But there is some people, for instance, like alcoholics. If I had promised you to stop, like me and Amber aren't big drinkers, but if I was, and I've seen a lot of men like this and women too, both. And I'm giving you that promise to cut down my drinking. And the wife continues to try to support you as a wife. That's what she should do. And you continue beating
I think you can continue to do it outward is one thing. I think where trust is really lost in that setting is when you hide it.
Yeah.
And then
Terrible.
they find it. And then it's very hard to trust somebody when they're not keeping promises
Sure.
to you, much less themselves.
Sure. But I think that our whole point by this podcast is like, be a good person or be a man or woman of your word. Keep your promises. And I hate to say this, but I've learned this with our children. Don't tell them something because their memory is good.
We're past that phase of where we can tell small fibs.
Oh my God.
Especially with Manny. Sophie is much more graceful. Manny is militant, but he is also a doer of his word.
Oh, but Saturday, remember we were like, it's very cold. Manny wants to get in the hot tub. And now here we are.
I didn't say that. You're learning the hard way.
No, I
I
didn't say it either. And I was like, Manny, maybe later if mama wants to. Every night he has almost cried tears. He's so pissed that we have not gotten in that hot tub. And it's such a small detail, but
it adds up. There's a compounding
and
effect.
I bet you tonight, what's he gonna say?
The hot tub.
I guarantee it. And that's just where I'm going with little things add to the big things. And I think if you don't talk about it, or if you don't do what you say, and I hate to say this because none of us are perfect. If we did forget to tell someone like, oh, I'm going to call you and you don't, just man up and tell the person you forgot.
There's grace and humility,
Right.
and there's also trust that's built in being honest and transparent. Don't lie. Call it like it is.
Yep.
And shoot them straight and say, man, I forgot. That's a trust building moment.
Right.
When you can call yourself on your own faults. I think we're seeing keeping promises in our children in the most raw, unedited version of it. I think as we become adults, we become a little bit more graceful. We always say we forgive, but you never forget those people that failed to keep promises to you.
Oh,
It impacts you for a lifetime.
absolutely.
So first and foremost, keep promises to yourself, but also your word is everything. Keep promises to others too. And I promise you, there's a huge compounding effect in every aspect of your life when you first do it for yourself.
Your word is your bond. That's it. Your handshake, if you give a man a handshake or a woman, it's a done deal for me. So keep your word. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.